This is Got the Fix It Guide. Today we're replacing a dryer belt on an old Maytag dryer. These are great dryers. They go for years and years. Eventually the belt will break, so we make sure we have it unplugged. We're going to zip out these two Phillips head screws at the bottom left and bottom right hand corner. They're in at about a 45-degree angle, and then we can grab the whole front panel and pull it toward us at about 45 degrees. And the upper clips will release. You just kind of slip this panel out of the way, and then we have to remove the manifold. That's this big gray thing in the way. There's 4 screws on the 4 corners that you remove. I'm just pulling out the old belt. We're going to pull out those 4 screws, and we can lift the manifold up off of the frame. And that will allow us to slip the new belt over the tumbler for replacement. I've already grabbed the old belt and pulled it out because it was broken. This is the old pieces of it. And I just got to remove that front manifold now by removing those 4 screws. So I got that out of the way. Here's the new belt. And I'm going to put it on kind of backwards with the cloth side facing inward on the tumbler and the rubber more sticky side facing outward. This is kind of opposite on the way most dryer belts are put on, but this is how it's done on the old Maytag dryers. So it's just backwards. The cloth side is facing in on the tumbler. Here's a couple of diagrams as viewed from behind the dryer. This is looking in at how the belt is routed over the idler pulley. Kind of an unusual way this is done, but works really well. There's a panel in the back that you can remove right where you can do the stringing, and you basically put it over the idler pulley and then pull the pulley to your right to loosen it, and then get that belt looped over the motor shaft. Here's another picture of it. And make sure that the belt is on the inside of this rectangular metal piece, this belt guide. If it's on the outside, it won't work. It'll rub and cut the belt. It's got to be, see the big plastic white wheel, and then it's got to be close to the wheel on the inside of the guide. Here again is the belt put on the correct way with the cloth side facing inward. And here's a nice picture from Maytag that shows the belt going on the inside of the metal rectangular belt guide, not on the outside. It's wrapped around the big idler wheel and then wrapped over the motor shaft. So the rubber part is touching the motor shaft. And that's what really gives it the right kind of purchase and the right kind of ability for it to move the tumbler. And here's another picture on an actual model as viewed from behind. But this is the wrong way, where the belt is going on the outside of that guide, and that'll actually rip the belt. You have to just kind of wiggle the belt around so it's closer to the big plastic idler wheel and travels on the inside of that metal guide.
Good.
And here's the dryer I was working with. I don't know if you can see with the flashlight.
Yeah.
How that belt is routed. I did this from the front by reaching in, but it's actually better if you're able to remove the small back panel and just do it from back there. It makes more sense. So I put the camera here a little closer so you can kind of see how it goes over the big plastic idler, and then it runs, the rubber part runs over the motor pulley in the grooves and then up over the tumbler. Here's another picture of the belt coming down from the tumbler down over the big idler pulley. So we got the belt routed. We're going to spin the tumbler a little bit, make sure it's on straight. We're going to put the manifold back on, so we get the Teflon guides underneath the tumbler. We lift the manifold up a little bit, and then get it over on the frame, and we're going to add those 4 screws back in to hold the manifold back on. I'd say the only tricky part of this is just routing that belt correctly over the idler wheel and the pulley. And again, if you do it from the back, it makes a lot more sense. Putting those screws back in to hold the manifold on. We want to make sure the filter housing ducting is pushed into the felt ring that's coming off of the blower housing ducting. We'll see here in a second. Sometimes it's hard to slip it in. You have to kind of use like a horseshoe almost to get it back in. See right here, my finger's on the ducting. I want to move this felt back a little bit with a standard head screwdriver to help get the ducting in there tight. You don't want there to be any gap. There we go. I'm going to push it on in. Good, that's tight. Very good. So the manifold's on. Everything's looking good. We're going to put the clips back in the top at about 45 degrees. Push them up in there, and then they should hook in, and then just let it hinge down. And you can put the 2 screws in the lower right and lower left corner. Zip those in. And then you can give it a test. Just make sure when you turn it on that it sounds good, that it's spinning good. Hear any weird sound, it could be that the belt is not routed correctly. And it's okay, just look at the diagram again. Try to do it from behind through the little access panel. It may take a couple of tries. A lot of most other dryers, by the way, it's much easier to route the belt. This is just an old system, an old way that does work, but very few dryers are using this system anymore. So we're going to set the timer. We're going to plug it in. Give it a little test drive. There we go. Press start.
That's the sound we like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back spinning good. Very good. So thanks so much for watching the video. I hope it helps you. And please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thanks again.